Hi, I'm Lucas Rogers and I'd like to welcome you along to the Rogers Property Group. Today I'm going to be talking about how great a market Southeast Queensland is, and in particular Brisbane is at the moment. Why is that so? What has it got going for it? Well, as you've probably no doubt seen, Sydney and Melbourne have been going absolutely gangbusters over the last few years. I mean, the Sydney market in 2010, it was $609,000 and now it's $1.2 million. That's a massive growth rate. That's doubled in the last 8 years. Huge. Melbourne's done pretty much the same as well. But those markets, they've dragged on with their growth rates a little bit longer than anticipated. And I think a lot of investors from around Australia have been buoying those markets up as well. So I would say that they're on top of their cycles at the moment, and they're reaching a supply-demand equilibrium. As you know, to get property growth, you need to have a reduction in the supply of a product and an increase in the demand of a product to get a price increase. So you need to have strong population growth, and you need to have an undersupply of property where new house starts are not keeping up with your population. And that creates what we call a supply deficit gap. And that bigger supply deficit gap means more growth that you can anticipate. So why is Brisbane, why is Southeast Queensland so good at the moment? Well, with the Sydney and Melbourne markets reaching unbelievable growth and unbelievable price levels at the moment, Queensland itself is now getting the major share of the interstate migration. On top of that as well, you have the Brisbane wage market. Brisbane median wage, I should say, is actually higher than the Melbourne market at the moment. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Yet the property prices are so much higher down there. So when we look at affordability, Brisbane is certainly a winner there. And in fact, Sydney, the median wage in Sydney, it's only 12% higher than what Brisbane's median wage is, but yet its property prices are actually double. The median house price in Brisbane at the moment is around $600,000 to $650,000, depending on what agency you're talking to at the moment. Whereas the Sydney market is at $1.2 million. There's never been in the last 10, 15 years a bigger disparity between those two markets. So what can we anticipate? Well, the Brisbane market's been a bit of a slow burner. It has increased over the last few years, but really not much above CPI. Hasn't done much at all. What we can anticipate though is that market is going to increase significantly over the next 3 to 4 years, and will get itself up closer from $600,000 to maybe $800,000, $850,000 as a median house price. Another great attraction about the Southeast Queensland Brisbane market is the rental yield. You know, it's not hard to get a rental yield on a Brisbane property of around about 4.5% to 5%. And with interest rates the way they are at the moment, that means that your property investment is virtually going to not only cost you nothing to hold, but it's probably going to be cash flow positive when you take into account the tax deductions. So it's a great time to be investing in the Southeast Queensland market, because in the Melbourne market or the Sydney market, the yields down there, so what you can expect from a rental yield is probably going to be around 2 to maybe 3% at the most. So it's making Brisbane look very attractive. One, there's a great disparity in the three different markets, with Brisbane being very, very affordable. Brisbane has very, very strong wage growth at the moment. It has the highest net population migration it's ever had in the last few years. It's very, very strong and the highest in Australia at the moment. And the job growth in the Brisbane area or the Southeast Queensland area is fantastic as well. So look, if you're looking at getting started in property investment, or you're looking to expand your portfolio at the moment, then I highly recommend you investigating the Brisbane market. Come and talk to us. We're certainly experts in that particular market. So if you want any advice around that, please feel free to give me a call or send me an email, and I can't wait to chat with you soon.